to Wealth Wednesday. Welcome back. Let me know how y'all feeling in the chat because we got so much going on today in the markets, in the community. So we gotta go and stay on top of that to be able to go and continue to move forward as we go through this week. Again, for people that don't know, my name is Corey Phillips. I'm the founder and CEO of Social Storm LLC. I teach financial literacy, economic development across the country so that we can go and continue to empower the next generation on what is really possible. So before you let me know in the chat, send this to your friends, send this to your family, because this is how we continue to make this a focal point for our communities. Because the more people that we learn how to build wealth, the more that we can continue to change our communities and everything around us. So make sure to go and share this to your friends, share this to your family as we get started, because there's so much going on today. Let me know how y'all feeling in the chat. Let me know how you're feeling so I can continue to see how y'all feeling. For Andrea, put you in a circle. If you're in my inner circle community, I want you to put a red circle into the group. Put me a red circle in the group. If you are someone that is from my community, from my inner circle, put a red circle because I want to know who's with me tonight. So be able to go and continue to share this information and we're going to go and keep moving forward. I have so much going on. The month of August, I finished my last semester of school. I'm also speaking at the Wellness Center this month. This upcoming weekend, I'm going to be coming on to Invest Fest. So make sure you all stay tuned. So if you're in Atlanta, you will see me. I will be streaming at Invest Fest. Going to meet all the amazing people in the great city of Atlanta. So everyone that's tapped in, make sure that you can go to Invest Fest. And I do have a couple extra tickets. If anybody's going to be in Atlanta, let me know in the comments section. Let me know, DM me on Instagram at Corey Phillips too. So we are going to get started in the chat. I really appreciate it. Just wanted to show some real love for your stream because it genuinely got crazy potential. And I'd love to connect you with a top Twitch streamer who posts thousands of like videos over 3 million followers on smaller credits. So yeah, I'll definitely stay tapped in. So if you have a conversation, let me know if you have any questions at any point throughout the stream. So let's get after it today. So let me get straight to it. Just let me know how y'all are feeling. Let me know how y'all are feeling. Because there's so much information, so much going on. But I need you all to be focused. Before, like you said, if you're going to get started with anything, I just need you all to be consistent. I don't need you to do anything special in your time. I need you to get 1% better every single day. Because everyone wants to go and be on stages, but they don't want to go and speak in front of anyone else. And in order for you to get to those bigger stages, you have to be able to master yourself and your mind. And once you master yourself and your mind, you can conquer anything. So I know that it's hard. I know things are tough. I know you're going through life. I understand that you are amazing, that you are blessed, and that you will have something great coming for you in your life. And that you can build that platform and know that abundance is coming for yourself. That you deserve to be wealthy. You deserve to be free. You deserve to have prosperity. You deserve to have health. You deserve to have wealth. And all the amazing things that comes with it. But you have to believe that before anyone else because nobody can come and save you except yourself. And let me know that before every single one of these episodes that you are the one that can go and create that opportunity for yourself. And this starts not tomorrow, it starts today. So use this as a platform, use this as an opportunity so that you can grow and build that legacy that you want for your life. So as we get started on Wealth Wednesday, there is so much going on, so much, a lot of different funds being, hedge fund being lost $35 billion in 1 month. SpaceX has its first earnings as a public company, and we are going to continue to talk about this. S&P 500, NASDAQ. There's so much going on this week. There's so much going on this week. Many things with the NASDAQ, the S&P 500 continue to move higher as we see a lot of these different things going on right now. Okay, so the biggest thing that a lot of people need to know is that there's a lot of continue to move forward and we can go through the notes. Okay, so for people that don't know the lead story today, this just for people that don't know already, There's this 25-year-old that used to work at OpenAI, Leopold Aschenbrenner. He built a hedge fund from scratch in 2024, and AI infrastructure bets on the peak of $45 billion in assets and 439% year-to-date returns. So currently in July, his portfolio fell to 67%, where he was forced to sell $16 billion in holdings to Citadel with Ken Griffin at negative 10% discount to meet margin calls from Bank of America. So the CEO called it a warning shot for leverage markets. So what does it mean for everyone else? It means that it's very important for you before you make any sort of situation as investing, is that being right about the trend isn't about the same as surviving. So long term, he found out he can survive without a short term drawdown before he was able to have no cushion. So for a lot of investors, they think that you have to overcomplicate and try to over leverage your different positions. So a lot of you want to understand that you're trying to build wealth and make a lot of upside with a lot of these super portfolios, these AI companies, these hyper risky investments, but you don't have your portfolio to be able to have the downside protection. So like for any sort of investor, like I'm telling you all, yes, it's great to look at these new AI companies. It's great to look at SpaceX. It's great to look at all these different amazing investments. But I want you to understand that this is not just for today, this is for 20 years. And every single person needs to make sure that you have a diversified portfolio. Hyper concentration is what really builds wealth as far as you invest in great companies, but you being diversified will make sure that you keep your wealth and that you can go and withhold many of these different storms. So I need you to understand that there's so many amazing things going on, but I need you to be locked in on what really matters in this season of investing. Because as interest rates continue to increase and we see a lot of different things happening, I need you all to make investing very simple. Because investing is very blind. No one wants to go in and be able to hold the market going up 1,000 points, going down 1,000 points, but not making a single trade at all. Everybody wants to day trade, but 90% of day traders lose money. And the people who are able to weather the storms and hold throughout those periods and take that emotion out of it, you can see increasingly great returns through your portfolio. So I need you to understand that it's very important that you are able to go and utilize that as an investor. That you are not going to make irresponsible investment decisions because we have so many people getting into sports betting. We have so many people getting into prediction markets, and there's so many shiny things that keep people in the markets, but it really stops them from building long-term wealth. Like we have more people thinking that sports betting and poly market is investing. No, that is gambling. And same thing with investing. Investing is gambling if you don't do research on what you're investing in. So if you're just investing because the president said this, or you're investing because someone on Twitter said this, you are not investing, you are gambling. And your life doesn't deserve to be gambling. It deserves to be filled with fulfillment. So I need you to go and educate yourself in the mind before you can go and educate yourself in your pockets. So the more that you can continue to do that, you can go and make amazing things moving forward. So it's very important that we are able to go and see a lot of different investments. And a lot of you all are sports fans in the chat. Let me know what type of sports fan that you are. I'm a Bears fan, so I hope the Bears stay in Illinois. I hope that we can see them going forward. But why are sports teams the best investment ever? They might not be the best investment ever, but just why are sports teams such an amazing aspect? Because since 1980, buying an NFL team outperformed buying the S&P 500. So for people that don't know, the average NFL team in 1980 was $35 million. Today's average is 7.1 billion. The average NBA team was 12 million in 1980. And now today's average is 5.4 billion. The MLB's is 20 million in 1980, and now today's average is 2.6 billion. So people don't know that Jerry Jones bought the Cowboys for $150 million in 1989, and now it's worth $13 billion. For the 19th straight year, the world's most valuable sports franchise. Yes, the Cowboys aren't doing their thing on the field, but they are things in the boardroom because even though they may not be the best sports team, but they're one of the biggest brands in sports and it has seen so much return on investment from investing in sports as people continue to go and view it, people continue to go and invest, people continue to spend their time growing on these sports teams, whether they were winning or not. So whether you and I are getting having fun or getting frustrated over a sports team, these sports owners are getting incredibly wealthy. So we're seeing a lot of people that are building wealth, not just going to buy luxury goods, not just buying clothes, but they're actually buying experiences. And things like live sports has continued to grow over the last couple of years as wealthier individuals have gone to things like the NBA Finals, such as the Super Bowl, such as the World Cup. People are continuing to pay for experiences. So being able to see that many of these different companies are continuing to be able to grow. So like why the NFL and NFL beat in the NBA salary cap equivalent revenue plus structural stabilization is that the value is never on the athletes per game basis. It's about the media rights, it's about the brand deals, and it's about the audience. Owners are basically figured out that decades ago, the NIL is the first time athletes are able to own a piece of that same game piece while they're still playing. So do you all think that there should be athletes that own pieces of the NBA? I definitely do. I believe that athletes should be able to eventually get in a place where they can be able to have ownership in a lot of these different teams because we see them playing each and every single day. But when you see a lot of these different elite teams actually see how much money they make, you wouldn't want to actually get paid that amount. These players might be getting underpaid. Whether they get make the right financial decisions is one thing, but I think that understanding that the real power of ownership is the only way that you can go and build wealth. Because like I mentioned in other weeks, you can go and work for a team, you can work for ESPN, but one day you can be cut. But if you don't have that proper financial foundation or own the media that you're on, you can be able to go and end it every single time. So it's very important for us to be able to go and move forward. Um, Another thing that's super important this week, many people are in Chicago. I was a part of Sierra House and the Young Investors Club. So being able to go and be able to be a part of that program is something that is very great. It was around a youth session teaching young people how to invest because investing is something that no matter the age is the most important thing that people can do. It is one of the most important things that people can do. We've made it so young people went through a 5 week program. Isn't it working right? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Let me see. Can you hear me? Let me see. Can you hear me? It's my fault. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? It's my fault. Can you hear me now? Let me see. Let me see. Let me see this. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? I might be connected in a secondary microphone. Let me see. Can you hear me now? It's still the same. Yeah, because it's connected to my phone. Let me see. Let me see. Oh, okay, bet. No, I know what you're saying. I see what you're talking about. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Hello? Can you hear me now? Let me see. Does that sound better? Apologies for these technical difficulties. Just got quieter. Can you hear me? Just got quieter. Okay, let me see. Crazy. Okay, let me see this. Testing, testing, testing. No, no, I appreciate it. It's still both right. This thing is crazy. Let me see. This is crazy. Testing, 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 testing.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? All right. Can you hear me now?
Testing, testing, testing.
Okay, perfect. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I had it on the wrong thing. Dang. I had it on the wrong setting the whole time. Perfect. Oh my gosh. Yeah, my apology, you all. Thank you again for letting me know because I was gonna yap the whole entire time. So um I guess that's way better now. Okay. That's way better. Okay, perfect. 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 We're back again. That's crazy. You all know content creators. You create the whole entire thing. I've been talking for 15 minutes and my audio was talking trashy. So back to what I was saying. Um, there's so much going on today with the stock market, and a lot of people are so focused on these short-term collections that they end up losing out on the long-term wealth that they could actually be building. And when I was talking about this guy earlier, I don't know if you all heard me. I'm just gonna go through it again. It's very important for us to stay focused because this guy's 23 years old. I think he's 20, no, he's 25. 25-year-old former AI employee Leopold Aschenbrenner built a hedge fund from scratch in 2024. So he was able to go and build that to a peak of $45 billion in assets on 439% year-to-date returns. So his July portfolio fell 67%, forced to sell $16 billion in public holdings to Citadel with Ken Griffin, of course, at a 10% discount. So a lot of people were set margin calls from Bank of America. um, Bank of America called it a warning shot for leverage markets. So what does this mean for people that everyone else, people that's regularly investors? Um, this is something that's very important. You don't have to be right about it. Being right about a trend isn't the same as surviving it. Leverage magnifies both directions, so it's very important that his AI thesis may be still correct long term, but the fund couldn't survive the short term drawdown because it had no cushion. So a lot of you all, for example, are trying to trade or put yourself in different positions where you lose out on the long term aspect of wealth. A lot of people wants the upside potential that it comes whether with these many of these different markets, but they don't want the downside protection that it takes in order for you to go and actually build wealth. Like I told people, he never had to go and leverage that position. He could have just helped it and been very simple. Like someone who's a regular long-term investor would literally outperform him just by holding an individual portfolio and index funds and ETFs. But when a lot of people want to go and leverage and trade and all these different options that makes them it stops them from building wealth long term. So it's very important for you to not look at all of these different shiny things that a lot of people are looking at as an investor. We see these option markets, we see the prediction markets, we see these futures markets. And yes, some of them can make you a lot of money, but at the same time, if you don't give yourself that downside protection, you can lose so much more. And it's very important for you to understand that yes, you can be great at one avenue, but don't overestimate and think that as being something that's great or something that is actual luck. So being able to understand that someone who is great in the market is not about doing something crazy, but it's about doing something that's very simple. Understanding that you don't let your emotions get comfortable when you get in different positions. So it's very important for people to understand that. So that is something that's very important moving forward. And then back what I was saying earlier, I don't know if you all could hear it earlier, but I was talking a lot about many of these different businesses in America. So why is sports becoming one of the best investments in America? Since 1980, the average NFL team has outperformed buying the S&P 500. So the average NFL team in 1980 was $35 million, equivalent to $7.1 billion is an average NFL team, where over $13 billion is today with the Dallas Cowboys. The NBA is $12 million average in 1980, worth average over $5.4 billion in every single team. And then Warriors is the top rated franchise with 11 billion. And the MLB, 20 million in 1980, and then today's average 2.6 billion, with the Yankees being 8.2. So Jerry Jones, he bought the Cowboys and for $150 million in 1989, the equivalent to $13 billion today. So 19th straight year as the world's most valuable franchise. So it's very important in understanding that things like decade over decade, the 1980s was mostly built off of broadcasting, local radio. 90s, 2000 was cable and stadium networks, and then 2010s was streaming and as well as tech money that could be able to go and be able to invest back into these different corporations, such as PE, sovereign wealth for capital allowed in NFL, no more than 10%. So it's very important that a lot of it was never built. A lot of these teams, and we look at different players getting paid a lot of money, but a lot of these NFL owners are making tremendous amounts of wealth. It's super important, especially if someone that's investing. Well, each and every one of us loves the attention that athletics gives us. We love being able to watch these teams every single day fight it out, whether they're winning, whether they're losing. But the real people that's winning are the people that's holding assets for long periods of time. Yes, the Cowboys are the most valuable team in NFL. They haven't done anything in years, yet they're the most valuable NFL franchise. So whether we win or not, they're still going to make money. So understanding that a lot of the things that we see is a distraction and making money, and we over here complaining about what type of player is going to start when they're talking about what type of deal they're trying to build. And that's the conversation I'm trying to have in our communities. I'm tired of us just seeing people that's begging for scraps, that's begging for seats at the table. We can build our own table. Yeah, we can have a piece of ownership in these teams. So it's so important that we understand it's never about building an athlete on a per game basis. It was about the media rights. It's about the brand deals, and it was about the owners to understand that long time ago, the NIL is something to get a piece of ownership in their own name and be able to go and build that while you're still making money while they're still playing. Understand this, like I said, you have to be able to put yourself in perspective that if they're getting paid $100 million, you can be worth 3x more what you're actually getting paid. And these a lot of these NFL players. So like when they had Caleb Williams, for example, was trying to go and use his NIL, but they didn't let him because he's technically in the NFL. He's a W-2 owner, so you're not able to go and have real ownership until you're able to go and have ownership in the team. But yes, another thing I was talking about earlier. Um, this past week, I was speaking at the America Young Investors Conference here in Chicago. So I was here being able to educate to young people about investing, about why it's important because a lot of these kids are learning this information from the time of middle school and high school when there's a lot of Americans that don't even have this. Nearly 1 in 4 Americans have zero savings account. So if there were to be some sort of emergency or something were to come up, they wouldn't be able to cover expenses. So it's so important that you push your pride aside and be able to go and push forward, move as far as you being able to go and take advantage of this opportunity. If you can invest your time and energy into this vacation, you can invest your time and energy into this purse. You can invest your time and energy to go out to eat, but you can't invest your time and energy into an investment account. The first question on a date shouldn't be talking about what type of car can you ride, what's your credit score, what's your investment account, what type of education, what type of book are you reading? Those are the real type of questions you should be asking in dating. It shouldn't be just talking about what type of car, what type of thing that people can have. Those things can come and go. But do you deserve to have that level of things that you have in your life? Can you have an investment account that can go and fund your future? Those are the type of things that people should be talking about in our communities, not talking about what type of car, what type of things that people are really talking about. And being conscious, there's so much information now than ever. Yeah, more people are still distracted. Robinhood, Fidelity, Cash App, or E Trade. For me, I recommend I use Charles Schwab, Robinhood, Fidelity. Robinhood, I mean, a lot of different people that use Fidelity. A lot of people use Charles Schwab. So the average holder, so like for me, I've been using Charles Schwab since I was 16. This is not sponsored by them. This is just what I like because that's what I've been using it. The average balance on Charles Schwab is between 240 to 305K versus the average per user on Robinhood is significantly lower between 3,500 and 12,000. So for me, I like using what other people with money actually use, and that's Charles Schwab. Um, I would definitely just cut out Cash App from the thing because Cash App terrible. I'm not being. I'm like you don't want. Why would you put your future on Cash App? Like nothing against it. I'm just saying like the security is not worth the risk. So I would not put your investment account or life savings into Cash App. But I definitely love Fidelity. The Fidelity has great offers. The great thing about Charles Schwab, Robinhood, Fidelity is that they have partial shares. So if you're someone that doesn't have $500 to buy a specific Facebook stock, you can go and buy partial shares from any one of those platforms. E-Trade is also very good for many different people, but I definitely use Robinhood, Fidelity, or Charles Schwab are definitely some great platforms. Does that make sense? Let me know. Yeah, keep me up with these different questions. Let me know if you got anything coming up because I definitely can answer you if I got any other one of these things. So that's what I would say for different types of investment account. Would you consider creating my home hedge fund? Yeah, I would. So it sounds hard. So like I would do a hedge fund. So like I would. So the thing is, a lot of thing about hedge funds. So like a lot of people that don't know what hedge funds are. Hedge fund is like basically a private pool of money where they make different types of investments. Typically riskier than regular maybe asset wealth managers, asset managers. They be used to high risk and complex strategies. So the main goal for people is to make different profits. For me, like a lot of these different hedge funds, they're very like they can make a lot of money, but a lot of people don't look at they look at the upward potential, but they don't look at the downside projection. So like managers typically charge like 2%, 3%, or p- management fee plus they have about 20% of the profits they make. Um, so I would consider doing it, but I need to have years in the investment world and continue to do that because I believe in more opportunity for others, but I want to be able to go and understand that I have that level of capital and cushion so that I don't go and over leverage myself. So I definitely would, but I definitely need some more experience before I go in that type of business. So I should bring on some guy that works for a hedge fund just to interview him about something like this because I think that would be some incredibly valuable information for some people. So definitely. How much capital is it to start? I don't even know. I don't even know. Let me ask Gemini. I think I'm assuming it's going to say a million. I'm gonna say at least 1 million. Let me look this up. I'm assuming because a lot of this is like for like keeping a lot of people. A lot of retail investors typically don't have access to this level of investments because of how much capital is needed for a hedge fund. So I'm gonna look this up. See what y'all thinking. You need a minimum of $5 million in assets under management. $5 million in assets under management (AUM) to be able to invest that. Um, but a lot of most institutional investors will not make a fund seriously until it reaches 100 million. So unless somebody got $100 million fund, that's when a lot of people usually stop that. So it's very important to know the risk and the millions before people actually go and create it. So now that's a great question. Y'all let me know if y'all would ever get into to that a hedge fund. I think we need more of those so we can be able to go and do that. And then just be able to go and talk some more topics. For my next topic today? My next topic today, um, we talk about SpaceX. I mean, what do you all think about SpaceX? Let me know what you all think in the chat. Because SpaceX currently they just had their first earnings yesterday, so is the first public earning as a public company, and they had so many different things that they're able to go and let me pull up these different numbers for today so I can SpaceX numbers. They had so much information that came out. I want to make sure I get the right information for you all. So in its first ever earnings of a public company for the second quarter of 2026, SpaceX posted a revenue of $7.8 billion and adjusted EBITDA of 3.5 billion, beating Wall Street's expectations. So revenue 7.81 is up 92% up over 1 year from 4.1 billion. They still had a net loss at 541 million. So a loss of share of 9 cents, which is better than expected. And a capex expenditure, 18.37 billion, which is driven by heavy infrastructure spending. So a lot of that 2.5 billion into AI and segment revenue, aided by compute agreement with Google and Anthropic, connectivity with Starlink revenue, 4.29 billion. Starlink subscribers reached 12 million people globally by the end of Q2. The space segment sales 962 million. So it's very important that, like we said, SpaceX is something that's very new, and a lot of people want to go into SpaceX. But like I said, most people that want to go into IPOs, the average IPO that goes from over 1,500 companies since 2000, the average downturn is 50% from its all-time high. I mean, from its initial public offering before in the first 6 months to a year. So yes, a lot of people can go and pick individual stocks, but individual stocks are actually very risky. And typically, yes, you can hit on a company like Tesla, but I would only put a small percentage of that portfolio into that. I would highly recommend for people to go and start with low cost index funds and ETFs. So you have the diversification to the top companies in the world in various different sectors. So you're not just putting all your eggs into the Mag 7 or the technology company, but you have exposure to other sectors that can be able to go out and outperform year over year. Because some years, certain sectors will perform better than others. And it's very important that you can go and get that upside and downside protection in your portfolio, especially if you're someone that wants to go into retirement. Things like bonds, things like commodities, things like cryptocurrency. Those are all great things to have inside your portfolio. And worst IPO, LOL, scam. So like yeah, like we talk about SpaceX IPO. Like I said, it was a $2 trillion IPO. I think this week, they're actually going to have an unlock period. Only not nine, only 5% of the actual shares were actually unlocked on the IPO day. So this week, I think tomorrow, August 6th, I think they will unlock another 20% of their IPO shares unlocked. So a lot of the private equity investors, people in the company that's held for years, will be able to sell their shares. So a lot of people will be to offer more shares to the market, and more liquidity can be expected from many of these investors. So a lot of you all that want to be investors and make a lot of money, yes, you can make a lot of money if you hold for long periods of time. But if you're someone who wants to go in and get a decent price, I recommend you all hold still, stay patient, and be able to go and move forward. Let me see some of the lock-in period, periods expire for SpaceX. So like a lot of this is something that you can like look up. Like it's very important that a lot of these lock-in periods is when they're going to go and liquidate these portfolios. So, but a lot of people that made money in the SpaceX IPO were people that were in these private equity investors. So tomorrow, Thursday, August 6th, 2026, there will be feeding up to 20% of insider shares, roughly 911.5 million shares for employees and investors. So August 6th is the second trading day after Q2 earnings. And next day will be um, August 20th to October 24th. Rolling milestones every single 2 to 4 weeks, another 7% for trade. Another late October, early November, the second trading date, there'll be another 28% of insider blocks released, which is 1.3 billion shares. December 8th, 2026, 180 days after the IPO, all remaining 180 day shares, bringing the tradable float to 40%. And then June 12th, 2027, 1 year after anniversary of the IPO, Elon Musk can take 6.4 billion shares, will be unlocked at that time. So I want you all to not go and use this opportunity just to go and buy. I want you to understand how these systems actually work. So you don't make the same mistake and don't end up losing money, but you can go and actually change your family's life. And don't let this an opportunity for you to scare you out of these different investments. I want you to go and stay focused on what actually matters. And this is something that's very important that we have to understand that this is still early and that you don't need to go and try to stay fearful because that's where so many people end up losing money because they end up selling when people are fearful. So make sure that you stay locked in and you stay focused on what actually matters moving forward. So that's very important. And then just also another thing, shout out to Sincerely Beauty. Shout out to all the amazing work that they're doing. I had the amazing creator social this past week. I was involved on a panel talking about the importance of creating. A lot of people don't know as creators that you have to be able to go and a lot of stuff that's stopping you from being successful is yourself, your own self-limiting beliefs. And my main points was talking about why would you focus on the few people from your community that don't even know your true goals, they don't even support what you're doing, stop you from reaching people across the world that could support your vision. So we think so small. Why do you think that you're only worth a couple $100 when you get that paycheck that can make you six figures every single week? Why do you think that you just set yourself to a position where you think that we only can be a certain way based off our background, based off of where we're from? But no, you can be way more, but we always set ourselves in our mind that stops us from those things that get us from success. So I want you to stop talking about, I'm gonna do this later. I don't think I'm ready. You'll never truly be ready to have the opportunity. But the best time to be ready is be right now. And I need you to understand, I need you to believe that. I need you to go and make sure that you can go and change your life. Because that's the main thing that helped me get to different spaces and I helped me get there before I was even ready. So use that in your life. Another thing I want you to understand is that it's so important. So many all my athletes out there, I talk a lot about wealth. I was doing an NIL event. Make sure y'all slide. If you're in Chicago, make sure to slide and we do an NIL in depth tomorrow at the South Side at Drake Elementary School. So make sure you pull up if you in Chicago. Make sure to come out and support the mission because we got so much cooking, we got so much going on, and you can definitely continue to go and build that. There's so many different things. My biggest thing for creators, like I said, even athletes out there, the biggest thing that you can do is build your brand. People are going to buy a product from a person before they build a brand because of the in-person connection, because of relatability, and because of you being able to have something that other brands don't have. You have engagement. You have an audience. You have things that people actually like. Many of these brands are looking to be as cool as many of you are creators. And they are literally paying creators millions of dollars just to be able to go and reach their audience because their audience trusts them, their audience support them, and their audience believe in what they're doing. So, at many of these different companies, you have to be able to go and focus on the things that matter and be able to go and do that. And understanding that, like you said, this is not like the early days. You have to have a personal brand because the great thing about a personal brand is that's going to help you get so much opportunity. It's not about who you know, it's about who knows you. Who you know will get you in the door, but what you know is what's going to keep you indoors. So the more that you can be able to go and have other people know you, and then at the same time do very well at your craft, you can be able to go and stay anywhere, whether you're working a job, whether you're starting a business, or you're going to continue to get in different environments and get opportunities in different places. So it's very important that you're doing this to be able to make yourself walk in billboard. Why are we going to support everybody else, but we can't support ourselves? Why we think it's corny to go and promote ourselves, but we go over here promote these brands for free? That's the whole entire thing that's wrong with us in our community. We have to shift the way we think. We have to think about what's going to actually build our community up, not tear our community apart. And it's super important, like I said, it's something that you can play a video game. 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 You can play on a team. You can play on a jersey, and you can have those specific skill sets. But you'll be only on that field for so long. But whatever gonna keep you sane, whatever gonna keep you at that next level is what you're able to build from those skill sets from being an athlete. Whether that's waking up, whether it's the discipline, just put it into something that's gonna help you outside of that sport. Because I see so many athletes, they go into the league, they make a lot of plays, they make a lot of attention, but they end up don't knowing how to use that. So I want you all to use and understand that the athletics isn't forever, but that skill that you can have interchangeably will transform your life and your future. So be able to go and put that in different positions. That NIL deals isn't just about giving you products. You need to get yourself equity, not just cash flow. We're looking for a check, but no one wants to go and build the content. No one wants to build the infrastructure. And content and business literacy outlast many things in the jersey. And the whatever skill that you can offer to the world is something that no highlight reel can continue to match as far as information. And be able to understand it is be able to have capital, brand, financial literacy, and transferable skills for diversification. And this is something that we need to be able to go and understand the future of the world around us as we move forward. And then just before I head out, I just want you to understand, like I said, wealth isn't just about money. It's about your knowledge. It's about your network. It's about your health. It's about your discipline and the impact that you leave behind. So I want you all to understand before next Wednesday, my biggest thing before y'all go is I just want you to go and challenge yourself. I want you to go. and be something that you always wanted to do, because we sell ourselves short. We think these aren't possible. We go to these conferences, we go to these networking events, we go and read these books, but we are not actually implementing. We go back to our regular everyday lives. We go into our regular position. We go back and hang out with regular people. And we have so much information to ever that we're not being decisive on things to do that. So if you're someone that wants to go and connect, I need you to join my community. If you're to hit me up and definitely find ways how we can go and build that together. Because I have a mentorship group of different people across the country. So if you want to go and connect to help build your brand, I will be offering that today. So feel free to DM me and definitely be able to continue doing that moving forward. But just understand that it's not about lack of information, lack of implementation, because this is one of the greatest opportunities to go and build wealth, where more people are distracted about things that don't actually matter. And as interest rates, as the economy, as the world shifts, the people who's able to leverage the skill set using artificial intelligence plus building community will be the people that will continue to change the landscape of the world. And you're either going to be someone wishing you were on the table, or you're going to be someone that's on sitting on the sideline. And that's what I'm here is understanding that you as young people are to have the greatest opportunity in your life to go and build wealth. Don't do this to be distracted. Don't do this to be like everybody else. I need you to be in your be be different, because everybody's looking the same. AI music, AI flyers, AI everything. So the people who are able to go and move in this reality where more things become artificial, and then things will be to go become more organic, more creative, more thoughtful, and more collaboration. So I know before we go and collaborate, before we go and change this live, I want you to go and I want you to share, and I want you to not do this for yourself. I want you to do this for your family. I want to do this for your legacy. Because the more that we can go and do this for ourselves and our people, the more that we can go and see the world around us change. I'm tired of seeing people on the south and west side of Chicago continue to get pushed out of these neighborhoods because we fight over blocks that we don't even own while everything around us is continuing to change. And we deserve every single piece of that. This is not the time to make excuses. This is not the time to stay distracted. This is not the time to do drugs. This is not the time to do all these different things that keeps us distracted from the reality of our life. This is to go to live in our purpose. To understand that this is our last day of letting those generational curses stop us from being successful and start building those generational legacies. That is understand that we have to overgrow those bad habits and create those new habits. And it starts from today. It doesn't start tomorrow. It starts right now. And the people that's going to go out there and create and understand that you can pick up the phone and record your journey. Pick up the phone and read that book. Pick up the phone and talk to that person, because you're one opportunity away from that success. And I don't need you to go and use any more days in this society to go and do that, because we have 6 months left in this year. We have 6 months left in this year, and you could be in the same situation that you were before. Or you're going to go and transform that life. If you can spend 20 years spending life in poverty, why can't you spend 5 to 10 years and locking in for something that can transform your life and build that wealth and turn your last name into an asset? Because I don't want any more liabilities. People can be liabilities. That's something that could be the biggest detrimental. I need you to put yourself around people that's going to help build you up, not tear you apart. Why are we fighting for crumbs? Why we should go and build something together? And that's the real reason why I do this events. Because it's not about me. It's about you. It's about your future. It's about your opportunity that's sitting right in front of you. And the more people that can take advantage of that, the more people that can go and see the world actually shift. Because the world is amazing. I think I want more people to be able to go and experience that, understanding that we're just one person out of a billion people. And we have so much opportunity to share to the world. So you all make sure before we pop out, you'll have an amazing evening, and I will talk to you all very soon. Um, you all have an amazing night. Talk to you all later.